problem.
Mango back with another podcast, and today we have co-host Gummy on here, and we have the legend, the myth, Nick.
Nifty Nick.
Nifty Nick.
In the house.
Nick is the co-founder of the #1 morning show on Twitter Spaces. They host Monday through Wednesday every morning. What's up?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday now?
It's been that way for like 8 months, yeah.
And okay, so you start this morning show at 9 a.m., right?
Yeah, 9 a.m. Eastern every day.
What time do you wake up?
Like 8:30. No, I'm just kidding. No, actually, usually it's like 6:30 to 7:30. I wake up, I do like a ride on the bike, and then I just hop in.
Nick, you're known for having a morning routine.
Yeah. What's your morning
Walk
routine?
us through.
Wait, I am?
Yeah.
Am I actually known for this?
I'm actually very curious on, like, because you wake up hella early and then you do this morning show every single day of the
Yep.
week. So
Well, that's the routine. Yeah, the show is the thing that's one constant.
Yeah.
Is 9 a.m., which to me feels like a job. Like if you're showing up to the office at 9 a.m. Separately, we do. I mean, before that, it would be hard to argue that I had a consistent routine, but recently it has become. I got a Peloton, and because everyone's selling theirs right now because they used it 20 times during COVID, so I've been picking that up for cheap, and so now I have one, and I got that at a discount. So I wake up and I do that, and I either do that or like lift some weights or something, or do yoga.
So you wake up, do yoga, workout, some type of workout, and then afterwards you get ready,
take a shower,
brush your hair,
and go.
Your hair is brushed back. You know, you got a comb.
Today I did because I knew we were on video, but usually like in the morning, well, I'll hop in the shower. I actually do feel like the shower is an important component for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oftentimes.
Do you take cold showers?
No, I hate that. It's a bunch of nonsense. It's full of
It's
lies.
Whoa. Okay, wait. That's going to be a new topic because we've been doing our Winhoff morning cold plunges.
Ooh, I like that. Morning. I've been actually. So, do you have a cold plunge bath?
We do.
No. Yeah. It's like a whole hot tub, but cold. And it's like downstairs in this building.
Oh, damn. So they have it in this building. Yeah, I've wanted to actually do that, but then I was like, am I gonna go buy one of these cold plunge baths? Like, that's a little absurd. It's very expensive.
I think they're like $15,000.
Yeah, they're very expensive. Yeah.
Or you can get a membership at Remedy. They just opened in New York.
Oh God, here we go.
Well, I live in downtown Brooklyn, so there's not. It's one of the most convenient locations from Subway, and then also when I ride my bike. But it's not convenient in terms of like the surrounding amenities that exist. Like that neighborhood does not have great food. It doesn't have a bunch of fitness options.
That's sad.
I had one in my gym that had a sauna and a steam room and everything else, and then they just shut it down.
Your place doesn't have that? Oh, they shut it down.
They just shut it down.
Because your view yesterday,
the view is nice.
I was like, okay, how are you gonna have that view? And then you're not gonna have any.
Dude, the amenities are kind of whack, actually. Yeah, it's
then maybe you should move here.
It's a situation. This building does look nice. I just looked it up, but basically the 2-bedroom here is the same price as mine there. Which, well, now I'm telling everyone my setup, but I was trying to keep that private.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the morning. The morning show. You do this, your routine every single day, and then then you get prepared for the morning show. Is there like so how do you prepare for the morning show?
I actually don't.
Just show up.
Yeah, I just show up. But we've been discussing that recently. Like, the biggest issue is like your mindset when you're going on to like a live show every day. Because if you bring negative energy, which I've done in the past, like, don't get me wrong, like if Pio and I are in a disagreement, it's literally the worst. Like the content's just gonna suck, basically.
Yeah.
And so we're like, I don't know. We went through a cycle of that, but now we've like just come to terms with being like, look, we're not getting in arguments. Like we'll just like hash through anything. Like you can have a disagreement without it being an argument. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And so yeah, we've like figured that out. And with that, I feel like both of our mindsets have been way more positive. And then additionally, like I would be like texting him in the middle of the show, being like, "Yo, what the fuck? Like, what's this thing?" And now I'm like,
whole argument during the show.
Yeah, and then I'm like, now in hindsight, I'm like, that was the dumbest thing that I ever did. So now I just like take notes if there's anything that actually stands out.
Yeah. So there's a girl on the show.
Signal.
Yeah. That's interesting. I love that you brought a girl on with the show.
Yeah, I mean, we just wanted to do it just to have a token minority person there. That was the only reason. I'm just kidding. No, she actually, a lot of people actually enjoy her, and she does a great job with the morning. what is it called? Actually, I can't believe I'm blanking on the segment. The weather forecast.
The weather forecast.
Talking about the weather forecast, what is happening currently? What is the current news?
The merge just happened. Tell us, give us the weather. All right, we're doing the weather forecast right now. Give us the weather forecast.
Well, when we go through it, we usually discuss the price of ETH, which right now I did some trading yesterday and ended up like losing $100. But which who cares? But it went. ETH is at a really tenuous price right now, so that was one thing. So we're looking at the price of that. That has a major impact on the NFT space, just hands down. It doesn't matter. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, well, when ETH goes down, NFTs appreciate. That's just bullshit. Yeah. And basically, if ETH drops by 50% all of a sudden, every NFT is worth 50% less, basically. So if you're holding in USD because you think that the price is going to go down, well, now you can sweep up some, blue chip NFTs or whatever.
Really? Wow.
I mean, I got a CryptoPunk when punks had gone down to 50K. They were up to $500,000 or something like that. So then I went in.
When was that? When did you get that?
A few months ago, basically.
Oh, is that when ETH went to like 800?
That was all fun.
Yeah, basically,
Oh,
yeah.
wow, you were waiting for that.
Yeah, basically. Wow. So I was looking for that. Although I actually think that my purchase may, in hindsight, for a moment, look stupid. I think NFTs have to fully implode. But, so what's the forecast right now? It's pretty gloomy. The weather forecast is not great. There's storms on the horizon, primarily because I just don't think all of a global recession has been fully priced in.
Yeah.
Whereas a couple of years ago, when I guess that was 2020 when the market crashed during COVID.
That was fast though.
One, people didn't know how to price in what the impact was because it was a complete black swan event. So no one had any anticipation of what that was or what the impact would be. It was pure speculation around it. A recession is something you can kind of more methodically predict what the impact is going to be. So I think that was something that, I think it's easier to sort of be like, okay, well, if inflation sustains for the next year and a half, what do I think is going to happen? And you could come up with a thesis on that, basically.
So what's your weather forecast for the next few months?
I think, look, the NFT space, we've seen continued demand and interest in it. And the primary driver of that is investors, like venture capital that's poured into the space. Yeah. The biggest source of venture capital this year has basically been Web3. This has been the largest recipient of venture capital. When I used to write about Facebook, when Facebook rose in popularity, basically, there was a bunch of venture capital that entered that space, and then we had the financial collapse. This was 2009 or something like that, and all these banks went under and everything else. At that time, we saw something similar, but the Facebook ecosystem was basically insulated from that. Why? Because there was a bunch of capital that had flown into that space. Was there a bunch of challenges going on in the economy? Yeah. Were people being laid off? Yeah. But generally speaking, it was fairly insulated. And I feel like the NFT space as a whole is kind of going to be insulated throughout this entire experience. And that's a really good thing to attract more people into the space because they're like, oh, well, I'm going to go work there because that's where the jobs are.
For all of this, you owned this production company.
I had a media company.
Media company.
So I started with blogs. So that's not a thing anymore. No one seems to give a shit about it. But I mean, if you think of Business Insider or Politico that just sold for hundreds of millions of dollars, basically.
Like a Reddit.
Well, Reddit's a community. This is just you have journalists like the Washington Post. It's a news site, basically. So you're hiring journalists. Blogs back in 2007, which is when I was starting. I'm old. In 2007, they were basically the first form of social media. You would have commenters that would come on, and you'd engage with those people, and that was the format. Reddit didn't exist.
What year was this? 2007, maybe even I was blogging before, so 2005. Holy crap.
So I'm 40.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we need to go over your self-care and skincare routine after.
Yeah. So we're still on the whole morning routine. What's the update?
But let's get through the media. So at that time, basically, I built one of the 100 largest publications on the internet. So that was like I was competing with TechCrunch, for example, is an example of a blog. You may not be familiar with these things, or your viewers may not be familiar with these things, but this was the hub of information. It still technically is today. Like when you go read an article on Reddit, you click through to some site. That site is usually either YouTube, TikTok, or like or a tweet thread, or it's a news site oftentimes, basically. And that news site was basically what I created. And so I turned that into a business, which was that, conferences, online education, and those were sort of the three things: content, community, courses were my 3 C's.
Okay. Wow, so you were an OG influencer back in the day.
Yeah, they didn't even call it influencers. Like, actually, like I was there, like I looked at my Twitter account. I was one of the first 1 million people on Twitter. I'm one of the first few 100,000 people on Facebook. Like, I was like at the beginning of probably the same for Instagram. TikTok, I wasn't. I was like fading TikTok for the longest time.
When did you got on TikTok? Like how long ago?
Probably like a couple years ago, but I just sort of dismissed it primarily because it wasn't that I dismissed it. I was like, this is bad for my mental health.
Yeah. It is really bad for your mental health. There's so many people on social media that take breaks, and because they're like, I can't do this, especially on TikTok. I think TikTok is the most toxic app that's been made. It has its pros and it has its cons. You know, it's the number 1 app in the world. Easiest way to grow on social media right now. You could take advantage to growing your brand, this and that. But like, there is so much backlash that you get, and so much judgment that you get from doing certain things, especially in Web3. You get people are like on TikTok, what the heck? Like, it's so negative in the Web3 space on TikTok. People are not accepting it.
Social media as a whole is typically pretty toxic. Like, I mean, if you think of all of the like Twitter, Facebook, all of the political stuff. I mean, we've had a lot of like Twitter, negative political stuff.
Twitter.
But we've been experiencing that on like NFT Twitter, if you want to call it that. There's been a lot of people. We've had team members quit because they're like, I can't do this because right now like my mindset's not right and this is like really negative. That was over because they got in an argument with someone on Twitter. I've been in a few arguments, and let me tell you, like, you physically feel like awful after like being in. Even if you won that engagement, no one's winning in that situation.
Yeah, there were some times I got so pissed. I was like, I thought I was actually, and I've never met this person ever. Like, never met some of these people in my life. And like when I'm talking to them on social media, you know, for a couple months, whatever, I feel like I'm like actually friends with these people, and I get so mad. Especially I'm a live streamer, and so like I'm like seeing comments go through live, and I'm like seeing some comments. I'm like, oh my god, don't say anything. Just don't acknowledge it. Like, I can't.
We've like figured it out, but I think it's also like age plays a big impact. If you're some like 16-year-old live streamer who's having someone talk about how you look, like it like impacts you, and it still impacts you. I think at all ages, but at a certain point, the amount of fucks given goes down over time. The older that you get, you're just like, I don't have time to even be concerned with anyone's like opinion of me, basically. So I'm just gonna be me. And I think like the faster you can get to that place, I wish I had gotten there like 10 years ago or something like that, right? Or 15 years ago. If the faster you can get to that place, the more that all of your potential opens up.
Exactly. You're so right about that. It still affects me because I'm like on social media 24/7 all day, like almost every day. But let's talk about like getting into the mental health part. And Gummy, you're huge into mental health. I've learned like things I've like never.
Cold plunge,
like so many things about mental health.
Matcha.
For Gummy. Oh, don't talk about matcha. All right, she literally has this thing where she drinks matcha every single morning, and she like.
Doesn't matcha have caffeine in it?
It has tannin. So tannin actually is both a stimulant and a depressant, unlike caffeine. So you get this like high that you get from like coffee without the crash.
Yeah, I can't have.
That's her addiction.
It's more sustained.
But also
energy.
the problem with caffeine for me, I start having like palpitations. And I just can't do it. So you're saying matcha doesn't have that?
Yeah, so matcha actually is
shit.
more balanced. Yeah, and it depends on the source of matcha. So if you get the first pressed matcha, it has all the benefits that you need for that sustained energy throughout the day. But if you get a matcha that's more like culinary grade, it doesn't have the amount of antioxidants and natural like polyphenols in it to give you the same effect. And so the quality of matcha is also very important. I know Chris tried this matcha that tasted like seawater, he said.
No, it literally tastes like seafood. Like,
I like that.
And that's actually
weird.
bad quality matcha, that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. I got it.
If it's rotten fish, then I'm like, okay, that's not
Why
cool.
would matcha taste like seafood? It's supposed to taste like matcha. Like, I've had matcha before, and it tastes good.
I had a matcha ceremony in Japan where in like in a bamboo forest. Let me tell you, I've been places. No, I'm just kidding. But
that sounds incredible.
But I remember having that and being like, wow, this is like a peaceful moment. I don't know. The least significant part of that experience was the matcha. It was actually hanging out with my friend who I hadn't seen in a while and the bamboo forest, which was just like, man, this is a serene environment. Like that's like a really cool place, which frankly is like the biggest thing that I feel like I miss a lot of, and New York in particular has this, is nature. Like I think just nature.
I'm looking out to the window right now, and you only see one thing of green.
A little patch.
Yeah, there's patches of green. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, going into a greenery is also very important for your mental health because it's very alkalining. So definitely, is this, you know, what do you do to help balance your work life?
Well, historically, I haven't had much balance on that front. Like I actually think when you get something off the ground, balance is basically the antithesis of starting something. And so you actually, you need to accept the fact that there will be like chaos. It's almost like meditative, right? Like everything is chaos, and I'm just going to observe that pass by basically and just accept that. And then simultaneously it's like, okay, well, and it doesn't mean like I need to work 24 hours a day. That actually, that doesn't, you have diminishing returns with that. I think it's more of like just like personal priorities. It's like, am I going to go fly to some conference right now and just like hang out there for like a couple of days, which is like disruptive to my daily routine, and I end up like, what's the ROI that I'm getting out of that trip? Or like if I go on vacation right now, what is like my intention with that vacation? You have to be very, very intentional with everything. And I think that that's the thing where you can't select all these things. Mark Zuckerberg's sister, Randy, had this book years ago, and I'm blanking on what it was, but she was like, pick 3 things. It was like family, you know, health and fitness, professional. You can have like friendships. You can have like, and she went down like all the different choices that you have in life. And she was like, you can only do 3 of those things at once. I think when you're starting something, it's almost like you can do like 2 things at once. It's like, I'm going to work and work out.
Yeah, so that's the problem with a lot of people, is that they try and do like 5 things at once because they're like, I want to do that. Like for example, on even social media, if someone starts social media, they go on TikTok. They're like, okay, I want to start TikTok, and then they were like, all right, let me go to YouTube as well, and then let me go to Instagram. And like, I've literally met so many influencers, like micro influencers, that I'm talking to. I'm like, slow the fuck down. Like, slow down. Like, you don't even have a stable following on TikTok yet. Why would you promote Instagram? Like, and who cares? Like, no one knows who you are yet. So like, build that foundation and then go to other platforms. A
lot of people say like, you got to be on TikTok right now, and I'm like, well, no, we actually, if we quadruple in this other place, when I bring an audience with me to another place, that's like the fuel that accelerates everything, basically. So if I can get a bunch of people who are in my audience that are on TikTok right now, and I go, instead of having 5,000 loyal followers, we have 20,000 loyal followers, and fans, or whatever you want to call it, followers, fans, friends. But basically, they will, a lot of them will, it's a great way to just accelerate things. And the cost of experimentation is actually quite high, because like, we're on TikTok right now for our company. Yeah. We have like a few thousand, I think it's like 6,000 followers on stuff. The number of views we get is like in the single digit thousands. Is that awful? No. Is it great? No. And so it's like,
it's all about trial and error, consistency, especially on TikTok and on social media in general. It's just about trial and error. It doesn't really matter if you're getting like no views, because like one day someone will pick it up and be like, oh shit, I like this content, and then someone else will come, and then it will just like blow up. I've seen so many people on social media, they do this like their own type of content, and they don't care about the views. They just keep going and going and going and going. And then literally like 5 months later, I look at their account and I'm like, whoa, wait, you're getting millions of views now from this like content?
What I think is interesting is that you have a mass following on Twitter.
130,000, man.
Yeah.
Huge. And it's interesting because TikTok, that's where a lot of the masses get their information, like how to make matcha or like their morning routine. But what do you think is missing that is preventing the rest of the world onboarding onto Web3?
Well, let's step back for a second. The one statement you said there, and then I'll answer the thing about Web3. You said that the masses get their information from TikTok, or that was how I heard it. And when I hear that, the thing that I think about is like, what you need to really think about, and you had said something about this as well, about the person just staying consistent with whatever it is. Great examples of this is like Obama. Obama told the same story over and over and over and over and over for years, like literally just the exact same thing for his whole life, basically, as a politician. It was just the exact, and they'd make tweaks to that particular message. I think ultimately, like, there's people everywhere. And yes, there are distribution channels that get you more people, but like, if you don't communicate in a TikTok form, there's nothing actually wrong with like going to Twitter, for example. We just have a subset of people that get information from us. The same way that there's millions of businesses that exist, some that make billions of dollars off of, or worth billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars, that you've never heard of, that aren't on TikTok, that aren't on Instagram, that aren't on any of these things, and have just high value customers that pay a lot for the thing that they offer. And the only reason that I'm just mentioning that is that the views and everything else are like so wildly misleading.
And you can never tell if the views are actually real.
And
the followers.
We ended up on a guy's podcast where I went and I was like, I was chatting with Pia. I was like, just so you know, this person, I don't believe anything that they're saying. And I think actually their entire media brand was manufactured in the past like 3 months or something like that.
Wow.
See, I just don't get it.
It's info marketers.
I feel like I want like real, like authentic people who follow me. Like, I'd rather have 100,000 followers or 10,000 followers than a couple million that are just like bots or fake, and they don't even know who the fuck I am, and I'm not actually creating an impact.
And that gets back to answer the question that she just asked, which is like, how do you do it? I think if you focus on getting those 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people, then you've actually like, your message impacts. You've connected with somebody on the other end. Whereas like, if I make a viral TikTok video that gets 5 million views, but no one follows me as a result of that, did I really have that impact? Or did I give them like, was it like porn basically, where they're just like consuming this thing basically?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
It's just endorphin rushes that you're getting out of this stuff. You're just flipping through this thing. So it's way harder. That's why TikTok, all of the views, people are chasing those specific things, but I actually think that they're not having the same impact. Like
they like on TikTok, especially like I've gotten videos with like 20 million views, and
congratulations.
The trend, thank you. And then the amount of followers that I get is not the same as if I created my own like actual content that I'm known for. Mm-hmm. I'll get more followers from the content that I'm known for than like making this viral trend that's going around, and I blow up off the trend, and it's like, oh, everyone else is doing it. It's just another trend, another thing for someone to watch.
Our average watch time for a user or a viewer within our audience is about 25 minutes.
Really?
Across every single channel that we have, basically.
Amazing.
Okay.
Across Twitter, across YouTube, Twitter and YouTube are the two channels where we're getting basically the average view time is about 25 minutes.
That's really good. You know, you and your team, like you guys have been slowly growing, slowly going.
Just grinding.
It's like a slow like roller coaster that's going up, and you know you have to enjoy the ride. And that's what I did. And I literally, like, when I hit 10,000 followers on TikTok, I got a fucking confetti cannon. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is so good. I was getting, like, 500 views on my videos. I was like, this is so dope. Like, I was enjoying the process. I wasn't like, damn, this person has, like, millions of followers, and I'm not even getting, like, and I'm doing, like, similar content. Why am I not? Like, you can't compare yourself. And what you guys are doing is different.
Yeah, well, yeah.
On Twitter. You have the #1 Twitter space.
Yeah.
Morning show.
You have the #1 morning show on Twitter. How does that feel?
Well, it's great. I mean, what it also just makes me recognize is we need way more people creating in that space with Twitter Spaces, because it's actually pretty huge. There's a site called spacesdashboard.com. I'm giving away the alpha with this. But spacesdashboard.com gives you all the analytics across every space in the world. And it aggregates it. It's like Social Blade or one of these other things that does it for YouTube. This does it in depth across spaces and gives you the number of people and number of listeners by minute. So you can literally watch
with TikTok as well?
No, this just does it for Spaces.
I need to try that for our Wednesday Wonders.
Yeah.
I mean,
and basically
amazing.
you can see most people just won't do it. And that's just like, they won't pay attention to it. They just hop on, they have a conversation. They're like, hey, I'm here with Johnny or whoever it is, and blah, blah, blah. And be like, and then they just talk about their personal life and no one really gives a shit. and they're not running a show.
Yeah, exactly.
If you end up, if you look at different spaces to see sort of what they're doing and try and reverse engineer it, there's such huge potential. And what I think with that is, like, I feel okay. I feel, happy about the fact that we're at the top of this niche, within of niches. Yeah. But there's, what I really am excited about is this like breakthrough and happening with essentially live. This is replacing radio. And
100%.
And that's really exciting to me, is like, oh, holy shit. Like, radio's kind of dead. This is where radio is going.
Yep.
We're at the beginning, and I think that's the biggest trend that we're riding, bigger than NFTs.
It's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
Tons of opportunity.
Yeah.
Because you could get picked up by anybody, because you're,
Well, there's a room to become the Spotify of live show. Well, not the Spotify of, but like one of these media brands that has a bunch of different shows right now. We're such a nascent stage with that one particular thing. So I'm both excited about the fact that we're doing well and that there's interest in the NFT space, but I'm even more excited about the fact that, like, Spaces as a whole, as a medium, has this expansive potential. Although I don't like betting on Twitter. But
you think there's going to be something?
Well, just their product execution historically has been awful. Spaces, when they got it out, was great. But they've like made a change to the top, which made the experience worse. And they haven't reverted that. And I'm just like, but everyone who's on Spaces holistically agrees that this sucks.
So you're saying Twitter in maybe in the next couple of years will not be the Web3 platform?
There's a possibility of that, yes.
Wow. I can't wait for the Web3 Twitter to come out.
Yeah, that would be
dope.
That would be fucking sick.
And then something where you can actually control the co-host before it actually starts.
Well, not even Web3. I'm not even thinking. I'm just thinking as a medium, someone's going to actually execute. Like, Clubhouse was it, and then Twitter Spaces came out. I think a TikTok, an Instagram, a Spotify is going to have the opportunity. Apple, with Apple Music, these channels are going to have the opportunity to launch, and suddenly you're going to get bigger numbers there than you get with Twitter. Yeah. And then Twitter's dead. On Spaces, not tweets are still going to exist.
I feel like there's a lot of people in Web3 that like ever since these spaces started for Web3, Twitter has got a ton of new audiences, like a ton of new people.
Yeah.
Because I didn't start using Twitter. I was not using. I literally I've had Twitter since 2017, and I have not used it until I got into Web3.
People view it as a boomer platform, and as a modern boomer, I guess at 40, I guess I'm a boomer. But I was on there in 2007 when it came out, and I think like basically.
Wow. I was 7 years old. I was fucking 7 years old.
Okay, son. So in terms of, I think that there's a, that was, yeah, that was like a huge platform and a breakthrough at that point in time. And I just think that like a lot of people now, when you speak with people, they're like, no, I'm just on TikTok. That's the thing that they do. And I'm like, cool. I'm going to just stay as a boomer, I guess, and just like stick through it, stick with it. I mean, if TikTok they do live stuff, and you said you do that. But
So anyways, let's transition into crypto NFTs on trading. So, you know, you're
if you're just starting out trading, like you're like, okay, now I know about Ethereum because I've heard of the merge. I want to get into it. How do you get started? Like, what are the platforms? What are the tools? Where do you find your source of information?
Well, first of all, trading is a bad strategy, but holistically.
Yeah, horrible. I've literally tried that for maybe a week, and then I lost a whole bunch of money. I was like, oh, fuck.
You can set up strategies to do risk management where you like actually do. That's a long-term investing thing. I mean more like if I win greater than 50% of trades and I always risk the same amount, then I'm going to make money. Right. So like now that requires me making trades positive greater than 50% of the time. Or my aim is, okay, well, I'm aiming for 10% gain. Now I don't need to win 50% of the time. Right. That number goes down. I don't know the exact number on this, but the main point is, like if you were making 50% gains on every one of your winning trades, well then you could lose a lot more on your.
So you just take that extra and then you play around with it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're just trying to accumulate the whole time. But back to the question that you just asked, which was like, I mean, basically right now it's mostly OpenSea, although that's shifted for all the traders to gem.xyz is the main one. There's also SudoSwap, but gem.xyz is the main one. OpenSea bought them, so it's technically OpenSea. You can use that and you can avoid a lot of the, I don't know if you can avoid the fees, but you can see it across multiple markets. So if you're collecting NFTs and you're actually trading in and out, which I do and mostly lose money on the trading NFTs. Well, let me just actually recap real quick my trading experience. I grew a portfolio from $30,000 to a couple $1 million basically by doing nothing other than buying a couple good NFTs. I bought two Bored Apes. One was for $400, one was for $1,500. I bought a Meebit for $10,000, so that one was worthless. Like it went down. It's not worth as much right now. That's worth $5,000. So those two Bored Apes, basically, I got a art block that was like I bought for $200 and I sold it for $10,000 or something like that. I got a Damien Hirst. There were a couple of other items that I made a lot of, but those two Bored Apes, basically by themselves, have literally put into a bank account for me $1 million. Then separately, when they were at their peak, the value of that portfolio was worth, the ape was worth $480,000. The cheapest one was $480,000 a few months back, and now it's not worth that much. But so like when you talk about trading, I was in and this is how I've made most of my money over time. See a wave that's coming and ride it. That's that's it. And then within that wave, you're trying to figure out like what's going on. I had no anticipation that I was going to make, and I didn't realize a couple million because, like I said, I haven't sold some of those, like my Punk, my Ape, like some of these other things. Those are still there, so I still have hundreds of thousands of dollars in NFTs, which is financially probably one of the dumbest things to be doing right now because I still think they're going to drop by another 50%. Yeah. And when you have like millions of dollars that are now worth $100,000. It kind of hurts, right? Like it doesn't feel good. And but to me, I'm like, well, I got to do this because I have this business that shows that I have conviction in it. So, like, that's my background with quote trading. Now, I used to trade stocks during COVID, and then since I was 16, I would trade stocks. And I did it with and some options.
So that was your first thing that you did? You were trading stocks?
When I was 16, yeah, I would trade stocks. And then I'd trade. I got into options later, basically.
And how did that go in the beginning?
I mean, it did like okay, but I mean, I feel like I was break even for most of my time. But then during when the financial collapse happened, I bought in. I started trading. I had just sold a business, and at the low of the low, I had extra capital to play with in the stock market at that time. That was 2009. And I basically was able to just trade and make, you know, $50,000, $100,000 a year. Just like I had more money and I wasn't even risking that much. And I just make some extra income from doing that sort of thing. So, and then in COVID, I did the same thing. I did like one trade where I put $400 in and it turned into 40,000 within like 2 weeks.
What?
So like there were like trades like that just like killed it. And I had a few more that were like really solid basically. And so you could like make decent money, but those were just properly timed bets because you've gone back and lived through things like this and been like, oh, I've done this before.
Yeah.
Like here's what you got to do when that goes down. And the same thing with NFTs.
But for everyone that's not been in here for a long time, how do they find these things?
Yeah, how do you look for that wave?
You know it. Like, and I actually think the younger that you are,
this is gonna pop.
You hopped on TikTok, for example, right? Like I was like, no, that's dumb. Okay, back in the day when Tinder came out, for example, which is now like, okay, maybe Tinder's not the main one that people use, but the bottom line is like 1 billion people or some crazy number of people are like on this app, right? But like most people would be like, ooh, you use online dating or something like that. Those are waves. So the online dating wave, if you rode that wave, not as just because you wanted to date, but because you wanted to make money out of it, that was a wave that you could have basically ridden, and you would have had the conviction to say, you know what, this is more convenient, and I think a lot of people are going to make it.
Okay, wait, so how do you make money off of a dating?
Are you talking about investing into the company?
You go build one. Like my buddy made one. My buddy made Hinge, for example, and so he makes like hundreds of millions of dollars because he sold it to Match. Right, so like I think IAC owns Match, which also owns a bunch of other businesses. But like, so the question is, how are you putting what's your skin in the game that you're doing when that wave comes? Mm-hmm. So like, I went through the social networking wave. Basically, we're still in it, but basically, I built a social network when I was in 2000. So in 2000, I built a social network myself, where I was coding.
I was God porn.
So I was coding. So I was learning how to code, building a social network, and then Facebook came out basically. So like, I saw that as a wave. I ended up riding that on media, but you can end up doing those things. You know, how did I know that? Because I was sitting in college and a girl, you know, in the lobby of the in the campus, like the public area that you hang out basically. Yeah. She was like talking about someone, like she was seated behind me, and she was like, "Oh, did you see that photo that was posted on Facebook?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, this is like this is a thing." And so there were like 1 million people on Facebook at that time, but you would have known innately. You would have been like that girl is using that thing, and I actually think that like social networking as a whole is going to be big, basically. So, and you still had years. That was 2000. It wasn't until 2007 that I built my like blog. The same thing is the case with NFTs. NFTs came out, even if it's 2017, that means you have till 2024 to get into the NFT space before, and you're still going to be at the beginning. So that's like the time horizon. Maybe it's a little sooner, but people like don't comprehend what these curves look like, and you're on it. You're just early to this space. Even if there's a few 100,000 people, it's so tiny.
It was like last year, this year or last year, it was like OpenSea only had like 200 million users, right?
No. 100,000.
100,000.
So right now, monthly, 100,000 people trade NFTs on OpenSea.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, what?
So the total number got up to like 2 million people that had NFTs in their wallets or collected on OpenSea during that year. I think was 2 million. No, but how many people are on TikTok? 1 billion. Yeah. And you got the wave going down right now, right, for a period of time. Yeah. But if you genuinely believe that there's something interesting here, and maybe we look back and we say, well, that was the dumbest bet, but there's a lot of smart people that are in this space, and a lot of capital, like I said. So it's not a dumb decision. It's not a very risky decision to bet on it. You're basically at TikTok when there were 200,000 people.
That's because I started TikTok when it came out. When it came out, I got on it because it was Musically beforehand, And that's when it transitioned. I hated Musical.ly. So when TikTok came, I was like, oh shit, okay, this is new platform, and the whole functionality is totally different.
And imagine all the people that were like, yo, that's just dumb.
Oh,
right?
In high school, I got bullied. I got harassed for fucking doing TikTok. And everybody at the school did not do TikTok. Like, no one was scrolling on their phones in class, like, looking at TikToks. And literally, I like, my friend, like, not my friend, like, these fucking people would pull up my TikTok and, like, show the teacher, show everyone, and they would just laugh at me. And I'm like, okay, I didn't let it really affect me because I was like, you guys don't know what the fuck is coming.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what's coming.
See? So you did.
And now those people are literally, I see some of them, and I'm like, they're posting their TikToks on Instagram, and now they're scrolling on TikTok, like literally using the app for like nothing, like just to watch.
Dude, the biggest risk that you're taking in anything is basically that you look foolish, maybe. That's that's the worst case scenario with anything that you're doing. Even if you lose all of your money, okay, you look foolish. Like, cool. That's what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you still have a physical body that exists that can actually, like, do things, right? So, like, you're able, which is already puts you, like, in a blessed state in a society that gives all these things. So, where you're not, like, concerned about, like, dying when you walk down the street, basically. So, you just have so much potential and opportunity. If you're not feeling foolish, then you're probably not doing it right.
100%. And I think that the people that are saying, oh, like, it's not, like, well, you're dumb. Like, when I quit my job, like, I literally quit my jobs for TikTok. And people were like, you're so fucking, you're going to quit a job for an app? Are you kidding me? And, like, everybody, like, there was no one on my side. And so, like, literally it's 4 years.
This reminds me of the book, The Outliers.
Yeah, The Outliers.
We're the Outliers.
Yep. Yeah, your goal is to be in that, and basically, like, and the problem is a human going through that experience is just like it can be mentally challenging, basically. So I think that's where it's just like, but just do it and surround yourself with the people who are like making an attempt, you know, like trying to do that thing and doing something. Yeah. Because our life is weird as hell, man. Like I'm running. We just made up? We made up something. If you're looking at NFTs, it doesn't matter if you're like, oh, that thing's stupid, like that NFT is dumb, or that thing. You just need to understand that there's a lot of people that are building things in this space with the intention to do that, and that's all that matters. All you need to know is that. Now go and build something.
And I have a question. So, like, what was your worst trade that you've ever done in the NFT and crypto space?
Most of the worst.
I've heard about something about your Coda.
No, that one was great. I made $100,000 on that trade, so that one was good. And now they're worth like 25 or 30,000 or something like that. So that was smart. Most of my trades, the worst trades, aren't actually huge losses. Really? I usually when I lose money, I lose like $500 or $1,000. Oh. When I make money, it's been like six figures. Or 5 or 6 figures is what I'm making on them.
The loss ratio is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, well, no, it's just like I was saying before. If you make 10,000% on a trade, well, you could make 1,000 bets basically, and only have one of them win.
What do you use to trade on?
Usually, it's literally just OpenSea or Gem.xyz. I'm just buying those. But the biggest losses have actually just been not realizing gains, basically, like not taking a gain. Like, would it have been smart to sell my Bored Ape at $450,000 and then buy back at $100,000? Yeah.
So, like that. Question. So, how much money do you think you've made off of NFTs?
Over $1 million. I mean, just like, well, like I said, the portfolio got up to $2 million. Right now, I think I've taken out, literally in one account, there's like 700,000 that I just have yielding interest. And then that I've taken out. And then I have another 500,000 that's just in the NFT portfolio that's sitting there that feels a little stupid right now. Maybe it's not that much. Maybe it's like 300. That's just sitting there. But realized it was like $800,000, maybe close to $1 million, just out of putting in 30K.
Wow, wow. I had to give you props to that.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing was actually like there were people who I met last year who had $5-10 million that they had made in NFTs, but they've still hold all those NFTs and they have no cash. And ETH is worthless. So, well, it's not worthless. It's worth a lot less. Yeah. So those same people who were just like, wow, I'm God, which is kind of the feeling you're having, because it feels like that when you're 30,000 turning into $1 million is like by itself already you're just like, damn, that's like a lot. That's a lot of money. Okay, cool. And then these other people that have 12 million, like Franklin, I think, with the Bored Apes, he had like $20 million sitting there basically. And it's not and just reinvesting all of it into Bored Apes, up and down. And to me, that's just like, dude, you're not thinking for your family. Like what the hell? This is like the most
$12 million.
And we had a guy on the show last week, Crypto Kaleo, who said that he went from 100,000 to 12 million. I haven't seen his account, but let's assume that this is accurate. And then back down to, he said it went from 100,000 to 12 million trading options down to, in a 2-week period, down to on Tesla, which actually makes sense. I did see someone who did that. Meet Kevin on YouTube did that.
Meet Kevin is, I watch him all the time.
He's really good.
That guy is amazing.
And then it went down to 100,000, or back to $1 million, basically.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I would literally I would cry.
Well, and I was like, dude, so tell me about the emotional experience that you had on that. And he sort of said like, well, you know, my faith in Christ was the biggest driver. And I was like, okay, that's cool, man.
Yeah. That's $12 million.
But like, yo, there's like emotionally you still like, I don't know how, like, give me one other example where you've gone through that sort of like rocket and then high and come down. That just to me seems like something. That's where I was like, okay, maybe he's embellishing this a little bit, but regardless, I've met a lot of people who've gone way up and then way down.
Same.
So, and it's just like, and most of the time, the first time you do it, I would argue, a 95% chance you're going to lose all the money that you made the first time that you do it, even if it's a few $1 million, you're just going to lose it. Like, it's just going to happen. Sorry.
Wait, why is that?
Well, especially if you came from nothing. I mean, I think that's like the biggest thing.
If you put like $1,000 and you make even a 200,000 or 100,000,
you're like hood rich, basically, right? Like
you're literally hood rich. Like people that that are that don't know anything. They're like, oh, let me just I have an extra maybe 1,000, or you don't have an extra 1,000. It turns into 200,000. What do you think they're gonna do with it? Like they're gonna be like, I don't know what to do with this money.
Most athletes do that, right? Like I think it's something like 95% or 90% of NFL players lose all of their wealth, like after they go through it. I think rappers have a similar thing. There's so many rappers. We've had some come on our show, and you're like, damn, dude, like you had that run. The problem is we take for granted when wealth doesn't, for most people, come in this like one just giant accumulating thing. For saving people who go to work every day and do that, they have this slow and steady build a retirement. But everyone else, like, the creative entrepreneur types, you get like spikes basically, and you view that spike when you've made that spike, you're like, damn, I'm the best, yo. I can print money all day long. I can make money all day long. I'm the greatest.
So to wrap this up, you're basically doing all this stuff in Nifty. And tell me, where's the future in Nifty? Where's the future in yourself? What are you guys looking to do?
For myself, I'm looking forward to having a family with kids in the future. That's a big thing down the road here. Nice. I'm getting old, so that's going to be probably more imminent than not. Secondarily,
wait, what happened to your wife?
Okay,
Keo.
well
where's
we're going through a divorce right now. So the Nifty, there's 3 core components of it. We got community, content, and also our NFTs. So imminently, you're going to see a number of NFTs roll out for us. We already have one. It's the Nifty portal. You can go look it up on OpenSea. And then we're going to be continuing to develop that and build out a narrative and storyline, which is also going to be where we introduce our new brand. It's not going to be called the Nifty anymore.
You can't say it though, right?
I don't want to say it. The other thing is, because it could be like 2 months before we release this. And I need to milk every marketing juice that I have. The other thing is content. we're just going to continue developing that. You know, we have a morning show right now. We have YouTube. We have a very basic TikTok and Instagram. I think us developing the content side of things, it is really the biggest part of our business. You know, the NFT is a major revenue generator, but content is at the forefront, and it's how we build brand loyalty. That's where everything exists. So that's at the center of our business. And then the final thing is community. You're going to see a lot of events that we're going to be hosting most likely.
Are you doing anything for Art Basel?
Yeah, we are, but we haven't finalized that. But yeah, we'll definitely have something. I think a lot of our stuff is going to be lower key than a lot of the things that we've seen out of like NFT projects and things like that, because we just like doing smaller intimate events where, and by it doesn't mean like I like doing dinners for like 15 people, but there's actually separately, you know, like a cocktail hour sort of thing. I think we're going to do a lot more of that is the primary thing that we're focused on. And so, yeah, those are the three things: content, community, and NFTs. That's the foundation of our business. And so you'll just see us developing each of those, you know, like we were saying before. You're early in a market, you have the opportunity to build, go build.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. I'm definitely, you know, I'm still new. I don't know everything, and you got a mastermind right here. And so definitely this is why I created this podcast to you know, learn to talk to people such as yourself and also collaborate.
On that note, you know, I think a lot of people should do the exact same thing. I got to interview a lot of who became mentors in the NFT space, like G Money, Clear Silver, Justin Aversano, the founder of Art Blocks, Eric, or Snowfro that he goes by, this guy, Tony, who became an investor in us, actually. Actually, so did Snowfro. So we were able to get like investors, build relationships, and all sorts of things through podcasts. It's a great way to connect with people, and frankly, maybe the best way to connect with people.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have anything other than, you know,
like, subscribe, you know.
All right, let's try. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a fucking blast.
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
So let's wrap this up. It's been Mango, and I'm out. It's been
really good.
Gummies out.
Gummies out. Mango's out. And
peace.
Peace.